I've just got my hands on one of the new OASE internal filters, the EcoFlows. These were released just a few months ago here in the UK, and it's time to open up this box and see what's inside and learn how to install them in your aquarium. These filters are available in 4 different sizes. This one here is obviously the 100, which is suitable for aquariums up to 100 litres. But if you turn it over on the back, you have a full breakdown of the full range of the EcoFlows. So you also have the 60, the 150 and the 200. And those numbers are all the maximum tank size that these filters are suitable for. I have used the OASE Biomasters, the Filter Smarts and the Bio Plus, which is the corner internal filter, in my aquariums before, and I'm very excited to try this one out. Keep your eye out in future issues of Practical Fishkeeping, as I will be reviewing this product after a few months of use to tell you how I got on. I have somewhat destroyed the box a little by peeling off the tape, but I can now get into it and we can show you what is inside. So let's empty it out on my makeshift table. And then I can put the box to one side. Everything that you get in the box. And obviously there is, try not to tip anything off. Your guarantee, which has 3 years, which is really good. So keep hold of that somewhere safe. And your instruction books. But hopefully from my video, you won't be needing this because you'll know everything there is to know about installing one of these filters once I'm done. Within the box, you get this little packet of biomedia. Now this is, I believe, BioPearls by OASE, and it is the ideal surface for the colonization of bacteria, which is what you'd expect from all biomedias. And the size and shape of the media is designed to really sort of encourage water flow around all of the media to make sure that every surface is sort of well oxygenated and supports really good bacterial growth. I've not used this media before, so I'll be interested to try this out as part of trying out this new filter. Next up in the box, we have this, which is your bracket. So you can see suction cups go in here and here and here. So this we won't be needing until the filter is ready to go into the aquarium. And here we have the suction cups, but we also have these little things down here. And now this is your sort of parts to make your outlet of the filter into a venturi, which we'll cover once it's in the tank and showcase it in action. Finally, the actual filter itself. So it's got this cardboard attached to it, which we can get rid of, and then take it out of the plastic sleeve. And here is the filter. And you can see at the top, this is where your venturi is going to fit in. And this is your integrated sprayer, which is there to sort of aid surface agitation. And it's just a really nice little additional feature, because a lot of internals just have that sort of singular outflow. And then these are your filter media chambers, and it attaches onto the main sort of pump housing by magnets. So it's really easy to take apart and clip back together, which is a really nice feature. I really like that, because I've had a few filters where trying to get the bottom back on top with wet hands and everything just means sort of faffing around, trying to get little fiddly clips. But yeah, that is really nice and straightforward. So we'll come back to the pump house in a minute, but we'll look inside these filter media chambers. So if we turn the filter compartments around, we'll come across the intakes. And now often these are sort of on the sides or on the front of the filter, and it can make the sort of whole internal filter just look a little bit less aesthetically pleasing. They've hidden it around the back so that all you see is either that or that when it's positioned in your aquarium. Gives a really nice clean finished look, but that's not the only reason they've done this. Apparently this design also helps prevent live plants and plant debris from being sucked into the filter, clogging it up and destroying your plants. So you can hide this really quite in dense stem plants or something like that, and the plants are all going to sit against this and not be sucked in, and there won't be any plants behind it. So this just keeps all of the inlets nice and free. So it's a really clever design. We'll see in practice whether it works well or not, or whether this being stuck to the side of the glass sort of restricts flow. I reckon with the bracket on, it's probably going to sit far enough away that it's actually going to be a really clever little feature. Top compartment is going to be for the biomedia. There's this little locking wheel, which you turn and then lift off, and then we're going to be able to pour our BioPearls in here when we're ready to. So if I just put that back on for a second, just so I don't lose it, we'll look in what's inside the bottom chambers. So these ones aren't held together by magnets. They should come apart fairly easily. but obviously you're going to be doing this once it's out of the aquarium, so it doesn't need to be held on by magnets for that loose connection. You can just take this off the pump head within the aquarium, and then you've got your filter media to clean, and then outside of it you can be a bit more sort of heavy-handed. And inside these two should be 2 blocks of foam. Now these are actually pretty decent sized bits of foam, and obviously the water's going to be drawn in through the back here, and then has to go through the foam to reach this central intake, which is then going to pump it all the way up into there, where it's then going to get sprayed all over the biomedia. So any water that comes into this filter, because this one doesn't have any inlets, all the water has to go in through a sponge, whether that top or the middle one, before it reaches any of the biomedia. So it's quite a clever little design, and then simply they just pop back together. Easy. And the top one. Yeah. We'll open this back up and we'll pour in the biomedia. Just torn off the corner of the biomedia and spilt some. So I can now just pour that straight in. And in theory, it should be the perfect amount. And then you can just pop the locking lid back on to keep it all in place. However, I have noticed that in the bag there is a bit of dust from the biopearls, so it might be worth rinsing off them before being used in an aquarium, especially if, like me, you're going to be adding them to an aquarium that already has fish in, which is this one here, because that's just going to cloud up your water a bit. So that is the filter media all sorted. The differences between each of the models, I believe, is they have a different number of sort of media cartridges and obviously a different power pump. But this is the 100, and it comes with the 2 blocks of foam and the 1 section of biopearls. Next up is to do the suction cups. So what we have here is, this is our bracket, and as you can see, there's a little, you might not be able to focus on that because it's so clear, but there is a little notch there which is going to just slide on top onto that. But before we can do that, we need to install the suction cups here, here and here. So we need to unbag those little bits and add those on. So bag's open, we pour out the contents and chuck some of it on the floor yet again. So this is what you get inside that second little bag. You've got the 3 suction cups, which you need to install on here. This is your Venturi equipment, and now this is a sort of blocking off plate, which you can install in the filter to make the spray bar more efficient. I'll show you all of those bits in a bit, but let's first add the suction cups onto the bracket. So the filter's going to slide in there, so I need the suction cups to face outwards like that. Always worth double checking, because it's always a pain if you put suction cups on the wrong way around. And actually they went on pretty easily. So it is almost time to install the filter into this planted aquarium that you can see, but I have just disassembled it completely because I want to try out one more thing before I get it wet, so you see everything about this filter. And that is, of course, we know how to get the foams out to clean, but we don't know how to get the impeller out to clean that. So I have just detached the top head from the filter media, and we're going to open this up and see how easy it is to get the impeller out and give it a good clean. Because we are going to have to do this fairly regularly, and if this is annoying, that's kind of a downside to a filter. So yeah, let's open it up and see. It looks like there is just this little overhang here on that side where I should be able to get my hand in and hopefully, yep, pull it straight out. So the cover comes off fairly straightforward, and then the impeller shaft comes out, and you can give all of that a good clean. Make sure it's running freely, pop it all back in. Level up at the cover, and push that back in. So yeah, that is nice and easy and straightforward. Obviously you do have to take the, almost dropped it. That wouldn't have been good, break it before I'd even started. But yeah, obviously you do have to take the whole filter out of the tank to do this, but you don't have to do it every week, so I can get with that. And yeah, that's as straightforward as any other internal filter, I'd say. So far so good. Now it is actually time finally to get this filter wet and running. So my aim is to put the filter in the back right hand corner behind all of the plants back here, so it won't be visible. That is where I had the previous filter that was running on this tank. But for this instance, we want to see this in action. I want to show you how it's running and everything like that. I don't want it hidden from view, so I'm going to put it in this corner instead. We'll run it in there and I'll show you, and then once we've fiddled around with all the flow options, I'll then turn it off and move it to that side of the tank. So I'm going to pop the bracket back on, nice and simple, and I'm going to install it like this, and then I can just magnet on the filter media in a second. Now it's time to install the filter, so I'm just going to suction cup it on there, and that gives a pretty strong hold. So yeah, those suction cups are pretty good quality by the looks of it. It's now time to, oh wow, and the filter comes off really easily. Look at that. So you can leave the brackets in place and the filter head will just come off and straight back on. So that's really nice and easy. Let's attach the compartments with all the media in. Just drain all the air out. And in it goes. Filter is now installed. It is time to turn it on. I'm not sure what setting it's currently turned on at, so let's have a look and see. Okay, so that's coming out the top. And we should be able to turn. So that's fully open. That is quite a lot of flow. Taking you off the tripod to really show you how fast that is flowing. And yeah, I mean, that's a decent flow rate coming out here. This tank is 90 centimeters long, or 3 foot. And it's, yeah, creating quite the stir up in there. I think it holds about 80 something litres, this aquarium. So yeah, it's a little under what this is max spec at, but I'd say that is going to clean up this tank real nice and good and make sure there's no dead spots. So this aquarium is slightly unusual dimensions. It's a bit shallower than normal, so I can't actually get this filter any lower, otherwise it's just going to sit in the sand bed. So I can't test out the Venturi properly, because really you want that slightly underneath the water level. But you can see it's got really good flow, and it does change the flow rate by having the Venturi on, as you can tell by me covering it up. The other cool thing about this top piece is that this rotates a full 360. You do just need to make sure that you move the dial at the top here at the same time, because I've accidentally now switched it to be pushing water out of the spray bar, not out of here. But just rotate that back open and you get your flow rate back. So yeah, just make sure that that stays in position, but as long as it does, you can rotate the nozzle around to get water flow into whatever part of the aquarium that you want it. Personally, I'd want it pushing straight out because I've installed it on the far end of the aquarium. So I have just taken off the Venturi adapter, and now you can see that that is the water flow without it. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to install this blanking plate into that space there, which will help block off the water and force even more flow rate through the spray bar. If I turn this, I can already turn that flow off and the spray bar starts to work, but you can see water is still trickling out of there. So what you need to do is just add in that end cap, and it forces all the water through the spray bar. And it gives quite a lot of surface agitation, good flow rate. That is a really nice little feature. So I'm overall quite impressed with how much oomph this filter has got, and it's really quick and easy to install. Yeah, I'm quite impressed. One thing that really drew me to it was it's quite slim in profile, and it means that it is going to be really easy to hide behind hardscape, behind plants, and all those sorts of things to remove this from view slightly. So I'm going to now test that out by popping it the other end of the tank. I'll take a few final shots to show you it running, how I would actually position it in this aquarium. But yeah, as you can see, there's plenty of gap behind the filter for water to flow into those intakes whilst they stay hidden. So I'm really quite impressed by that little design feature. Yeah, I mean, they've thought about a lot of different things that a lot of other internal filters might not have included. I've taken you off the tripod, so I apologise for any shaking, but you can see the amount of flow being pushed round the aquarium. The daddies are enjoying it. And looking at this side, you can barely even tell there's an internal filter back there. But open up the slide, and there it is. That's on the spray bar setting, lots of surface agitation. All the water letters pushed to the front so they don't get splashed and rot, because they do not like surface agitation. Yeah, filter pretty well hidden because it's so slim. The luminous filler and the floating plant doing a great job of hiding that. And you wouldn't even know there was any equipment in this tank. So that is the EcoFlow unboxed and installed on my aquarium. It was really nice and simple to do, and I am quite impressed by this product. If you want to get your hands on one of these filters in the UK, you do need to go to Maidenhead Aquatics, because they are the exclusive sellers of this filter. You can pop to one of their many stores up and down the country, or head to fishkeeper.co.uk and you'll be able to find it online there. Thanks for watching. Look out for a review in a few months' time when I have sort of had a chance to really see this filter in action. And let us know in the comments below what else you think I should test out.